capital B, lowercase p, capital W, capital L, 3, capital C. That's just a AFSEN, New York, round 6, all caps.
Cool.
Yeah, I knew it.
Please give the winner of this round a 30 and the loser 29.9 something way to curb potential prize. Be so cool. That. Captain's economics, applications, biology, labor, reviews, people, deciding our probability, rationalizers, blues, Roosevelt 21. Money, Jefferson, way with major business, with disability, pressure, ability, shoulder, balls, human business, figure, capital, fighting, so early, better, accumulation, capital, really got to compare to capital, the same rule, represent this with capital, probability, right at the same business team, and I'm just with the record of economy, disability, over capital, or damages, commodities, value, result, deficit, the function of this capital, accumulation, solution, the proper disability, with mass utilization, utilization, something limited to the loss of 100,000, that's not the force, facilities, or zero, people, holding, browse, that way, jails, the forms of the theory, the function, separation, social inclusion has remained, with the other medical ways of the bodies, the masses of the property, or were excluded, explains everything, except for those able to use real proportion, or painting, and pauper. Raising which was revised later, sharpening capacity, determine the scrap, sharpening the line between workers, serving life, and unemployed become object or zero control, letter 5. Laws of regulation, labor, wage operation, labor, the waiters, cigar, any particular day, unemployed, the wage rates, workers, love, and making legal workers, less unemployable, or workers earn less than what they wage, would afford discipline of the workers, and able to calling from the workforce, so the person can already say, we're making a more than the least, shut up in a thousand percent, but it doesn't employ an honor, which might have been a low wage, or biology, and it's too low wages, for workers, the reason of the state of the wage, the impact is slow death, alpha 19. Neoliberalism sees within the rationality, market decisions, social distributive, as well as market like together, vaccinations, low characters, mobility, value, and white, slow running worlds. These are the neoliberal market naturalists, these experiences, but rather than social literacy, killing majors, and less than great modalities of death making. You know, cities and individuals making but neoliberalization with the population, the members of the population that successfully compete. You don't make sure if you surprise change to rationalize disabled death, minus 22. When you measure disabled death for your life, don't look over the vast evidence to rather than the same machine that is journey of Robin and eugenic abandonment. You're not able to work as the capital table, there's just a fear present, you were inevitable future, defense, the whole survival, but against you understand that we are dependent with the planet, we will not survive. Because I from the United States report that workers receive a living wage of bad debt. All life is real labor, no workers here is doing within the new order from the formal economy of favor, recognize the disability grounds for life, these invitations serve you real work of care. Stop Astonis 19. The most work runs in the capital, the figures, able to serve the same way and do work, but the cost of because it's hard to bring your table in your apartment, provide more for the same workers, is right now, what is work? This is what works in the original capital, that's a labor dependency versus labor, but dependency and also work dependence, the reason the boss of bad deals, and all the core dependency, causal questions, causal trends, the promise, they can do what you need, like, here's the garbage, let's just remove the daily, if you're taking things, especially if you're working, when you let us know, really, there's your work, personal, the only thing to the full workers here, we're not really sure, the other version of because we feel to recognize dependency, our product, disability, what is the level, just really easy to see, we're obviously ground state for life, the person who finds disability, giving another capital solutions, that we need to circle loop, counting to make the right basically legible in that system. That is the principle of social liberation, which means the value of needed gender resistance, MacArthur's Avastano 17. That is only back on the universe, once the global recognition already difficult to pass, which often works later than regulation or reducing values capacity, invest the everything is after nothing, you need to offer so debt is debt elaborates our need. With the illusion of forming that forms us the rise, our rise, always in the direction, this is here, which is the terms we don't make sense, we just feel it. The best teacher is the only thing in the value, the teacher is the value, but we have to contribute your use more than another condition, or the ways of recognition, more so layers in the ways in which our conditions as they be together. If there's a cure for this, I don't want it. But when the actual influence also is agricultural less and passive character resiliency, which kills disabled people. I have 21. One of the things the cares are going to take me to international level, where you of course, cares always still figure out good to be back, and fear what it means, how much intervention relation, that is equal to the reason, which was not to say, there I am, the point is how hard to say, you're really sure you're required, it's not trying to begin to know, able to you go, you're worth higher, you need less care. Care is but these, like moments where we're talking about this guy, this capacity, or wouldn't know what's in it together, every season, every support, how care works. Reform fails, try back for the app, 2020. Reform to the capacity, or some resolution, because it's not production of care, well, so much of it, they go, they and running the care of the people, we have to as a stage, pop-up plunge for everyone, then writing sources, taking fixes, and counseling mood, your legal service, overdose, social training, deduction for also regulations, and recommendation without round training, political domain medicines, and match medication, free illicit, recreation, care information without insurance, care without sicknesses, most of the difference, evidence of the people, they can make care, the same legitimate, the alternatives, are reserved, the what can be inspired, the charities, all works, is not our charities, having a kind of care communities, and where we build power. Use the care that is living sacrificial building law, just is a self-extinction generator, Cobra 18. Just really don't have to service of the more survival, the rational, the will, and the over the so big as the industry, you don't never do the most of the position, disabilities, but a military offensive director really would have been seen as disabled, not only in the question of the gender, but really like in the ring through history, and energy proliferation, could be like for floating with the whole industry, generating over disabled as the question of whether the question of an easy coverage on the population, but in order to make this all the changes in utilitarian armies are really a bad violation of violent sacrificial nature of civilization. What would be ultimately thoughtful humanity will also work out like the exceeding Western middle class urban capitalist life. Not everyone can serve values or the weapons every time we work able to justice for all such as the humans are in species in some ways, and often the strength is seemingly universal proportion of humanity demand Western regions and non species the individual ability is separated exchanging universally so utilitarian can heal and terminate saving the ability to think life must be maximizing make the self and the world's utilitarian and as this species is the genius starting to really to one of the gap the one where the labor also left the kitchen to one is shortly and culturally odd. The modality of the problems is the self-applied modern calculated ability. Cut the card. Ability.
Alright, cool. Do you wait for cross?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll start. First, does the affirmative, who is the United States?
A collective group of people.
So do you argue that the people do the affirmative?
Yeah, we're not a fiated state policy action or like a monetary.
Okay, I guess is this affirmative then a question of does it function under like a truth type framework? Like, are you saying that it is true that we should do that we should?
I've proposed a model for debate that I think is good to be tested. It's
okay, that's fine. What does it mean to what does insolvency mean in the context of how we filter impacts?
Yeah, so this idea of care needs to be solvent is an ableist assumption because it says that care should one day end. I.e., if I care for you then 5 years and then oh I'm done, now you're on your own, you gotta fend for yourself again. We say that's an ableist assumption.
That's fine. I guess what impacts matter under this affirmative?
What impacts matter? I say that eugenics are bad.
Okay, you're telling me what's bad. I guess what's good?
What's good?
Yeah.
Not eugenics.
Bro, that's so circular. Great, eugenics are bad. Why are eugenics bad?
Why
what do you rely on?
Why are eugenics bad?
No, I'm not. Obviously, eugenics are bad, but I'm saying, how does the affirmative come to this conclusion? Do you care about consequences? Clearly not, because you're saying that util is bad. But then, why do you care about the harms of eugenics absent a util calculus?
Read your whatever fluency you want to say. I'm saying eugenics are a.
Okay, I will, but I'm giving you the opportunity to explain why or how you come to a conclusion.
I come to the conclusion that eugenics are bad because.
Right. Okay, so is your only burden in this debate to prove that eugenics are bad and you win?
My burden is that I provided a model that is good. If you think the AF is a good idea, you should affirm.
What's the role of the negative in this debate?
The role of the negative, you should provide a counter model.
A counter model that proves eugenics bad?
You should provide alternative strategies.
Can the counter model be grounded in consequences?
Can the counter model...
Does the affirmative rely on consequences at all?
Does the affirmative... Can you explain that question more?
Should I not delete the calculates that are in the 1C right now?
I'm
scrolling, but my question is I guess, do you still rely on does the affirmative advocate for a better reformed future or something?
Do we think care work is a good possible future?
Yes. Okay, so that's fine. So it's still based on something material, something natural. I guess where have you shown in the 1AC that people are obligated to help each other? Why am I obligated?
People are not forced to help each other. We say that bad debt would create a world
where you say it's permissible to help each other.
Would I say it's permissible to
where do you show that it is permissible?
Where do I show that it's a morally good thing to help each other?
Yeah.
Because it combats eugenics.
Sure, okay. Tudor case is I guess overview type arguments, the framework, and then the top of the app.
can you give me the order of the case again?
Case like overview, and then framework, and then the top, like the
Okay.
advantage, and whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Alright, let's see. Everyone good now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interpretation of the must have written standard rule of the ballot, and the one to be clarified that must specify an action like back to the well being or respect the agency or as and or an explicit rule of the judge or ballot within the case violation of the rule of the ballot or standard result believes that standard if you don't have a framework that the judge is about no non-arbitrary way to filter impact general advantage or to tell us how many impacts they can talk about it and say, well, we just need to know what counts as an impact if they tell us. That's the internal impact of these skills and shifting because we don't know what matters in this round. What lets them shift and clash if there's no specified framework. I have no idea what argues leads to what and so makes it hard for me to generate answers. Also use infinite interesting because the lack of background is the one area can be 7 minutes of big offense and 3 for without a framework that guides action or still doesn't. We can never learn about the ethicality of the one see. We never know how different field arguments interact. Drop the leaders can to our future, learning in future research practice creates new norms and encourages change by offsetting when you lose and encouraging you to change. Fairness is voter prefer fairness is consider across the debate since the debate's a game with the winner and loser speech time still determines before the round constitutive rules means any disadvantage implications and inevitable internally non-unique PAB self being their next shells from the judge will vote them fairly, which concedes the authority fairness from organization win for being harmful, for not being harmful, always encourage baiting theory and winning around a script or I prefer competing interpretations as reasonably as arbitrary by judge convention. Don't let them make cross-ex checks arguments when they just said that eugenics are bad. That is not how you weigh arguments, and it's infinitely arbitrary. Second, the meta-ethics of ego is about which physical fairness of under spiritual gain and environment where survival works has with their own needs, places like before the other community, which means that ego is being reduced to fit a second, and the skeptic needs resolution, like supposed to consider out some truth necessary. They consider statements to be either true or false, something which means the only thing that can affirm to go towards the truth or resolution because a lot of the skeptics are getting true and false when whether or not the action is moral and moral will result in the skeptic comes from the control way case of the evidence possibility to be this of universal obligation they remain the law can see the evolution of shape of the form of beliefs that means that our truth or at best contingent our beliefs are not necessarily true because our circumstances are evolutionary pressures for survival and moral practice means that our version of gains intended by biological be argument disagreement and disagreement while premise be incorrect that a lot of moral disagreements occur many people hold incorrect moral beliefs so such a great error of beliefs and think there's no reliable process of belief formation so there's no reliable process we should go with those beliefs see arguments from relativity each person has their own understanding of right and wrong and the proven evidence best with massive sample size and 16 survey by the responses that there are personal beliefs against being who want to say what's right for them motion is very includes a willingness to correct more principles, everything's based on the individual desires to be more rigorous every person. That's why we moral there's no answer. They easily choose something unethical for people like type any they can just choose that to morally unethical for Brian's people. Eat more truth and existence of economics when the acceptance of each individual's conception of the good and McIntyre. They want to educate this for me universal health and only decide a little bit driving from some general principle. Every genuine reason must be fine there. Justification reasoning terminating when there's no further reason to be given. As justification is always a choice driven by criteria. Each individual choice is adopted from principles the basis on the other choice principle. When the individual will ethical pluralism means all actors are different. It's absolutely good. Something that the one who sees a moral truth and actions in their conception, which is functionally the same as the logic of ritual discrimination gene, when there's our existence of molecules, which are humans are advising rightly with the laws of physics going. We are biological creatures, collection of molecules, with the laws of physics, these laws determine your behavior, and the every molecule in the universe of molecules will make up your brain neurons, and your brain neuron, your the environment, memories, and the structure of chemicals, units, your brain cells, we will rest and step outside of those brain structures and modify how it works. They take the affirmative can impose universal moral ethics, these steps in my confidence, models, probability, it's incoherent to debate frameworks that are with modesty, confirming my question of probability, and universe that frameworks false, because false to is fail, and sometimes spam and interest engaging the framework to not mind universe clear impact free freezes action. If we have to take into account all the possible chances of framework being true, we will be able to decide an ethical framework and therefore never take action for truth testing only confidence. And it's coherent under truth and framework because the framework and truth is a binary question on slide fail probability 5 infinitely regressive. We have to bet on which framework is true and put odds on it. Otherwise, honesty itself forces us to be modest about our own modesty, which means we'll never get anywhere. Reject one AR justifications for modesty leads to a two-verse one speech queue because they get to extend argument, but I can only answer it once. Being the one AC solves to be vigilant about high definition framework. Reject any new 1 hour rule of the ballot, not only because it's bad for on the theory show, but also because it would boot any office on the skepticism, which is uniquely important. You should just read it in the 1AC like every other debate or the case page, or like the overview, I suppose. The role of the ballot is relevant to the best proof the truth, the false, the resolution of various grounds, let's more than the role of the ballot is plus or if an argument, and if an argumentation on the range of argumentation style, then the tenth argument is topic of Philippine necessity also can apply implicit truth by i.e. if I say that I smell like this and is true, that implies this creates a double bind. Either they assert the truth by their indicts, which means that they implicitly rely on truth in the paradigm, or they don't assert the truth by their indicts, which means that they are false, and truth that means therefore true. See textuality, foundation not to affirm the truth, negate to that truth, which means that the sole jurisdiction of the judges from the rights of the truth, the falsity, that always a confusion, to not clear the rules of verified presumption, and permissibly negate one semantics and the product obligation or constantly, but next in trigonometry, prohibition, obligation, permissibility, between what is considered semantics that weights key regulations, for purpose of the regular resolution, constitutive of the rules and debates, and just obligated when the resolution text meeting is harder for us, not speech, and both the debate
one error of consensus using the evidence of damage and government space safety something safer from this goes, as you know, what this goes with, depending on if the applicant or not, if its ethics are incoherent. The framework stuff, they don't read a framework. I'm honestly not sure if I even need to read Calvinites. I guess I'll read a few. Reject consequences if they try to make those as a logical basis. Hey, butterfly effect, consequences are the consequences infinitely, which leads to regress being unhyperable. You can't headaches from reference that consequences can't rely on weights. The induction fails. They compare to use the past tense for the future because there's no logical certainty that will happen before, it will happen again. There's an active distinction and release of actions that you can't do when you choose an action that you shouldn't be held culpable for. I guess skip the rest of the framework. We turn the framework if any sort of naturalist argument is true, i.e. they say that their claims are bound in the sort of real world that justifies the motivism, they become self-interested, they cross-sex is bad for them, they do not prove why we are obligated to help other people, which means that their framework just collapses to egoism at best, or their general theory of power. Second is aft triggers permissibility. If there is no rule of ballot, we don't know what the aft prescribes, and since there's a lack of normativity and a lack of ethical framing, means that our obligations are completely arbitrary, which collapses to everything being permissible, negates and a wage cannot be living, a wage is a fixed thing made by the employer. Maybe on textuality, if the topic was a question of the livability of a wage, they would add a hyphen. The resolution doesn't. It outweighs the textuality because it controls how we prep. Western Michigan University noted hyphens usually parts of the word comma. The reference to the first quarter touchdown. These are hyphens form a single idea of words. They gate linguistic conventions. The only way to distinguish between Broncos scoring a first quarter touchdown of the day versus a first quarter touchdown is the use of the hyphen. Option A, first space quarter touchdown, indicates the Broncos scored their first quarter, 1/4 of a touchdown, which would be 1.5 points. Option B, first hyphen quarter touchdown, indicates that they scored a touchdown in the first quarter, because the hyphen linking the word to the quarter would mean touchdown versus a quarter of touchdown. Thus, the term of living space wage is not a term of art. It indicates that with the word determined for the United States can require that workers be given wage, and then the negatives behind that premise. Wages are money, paper is not a living thing. The Columbia and paper is not a living thing. Receive means to prepare to take possession of the ball and a kick in football, but a living wage is not a football, so negate for logic. They don't define the wording of the resolution means they're absent of coherent, presume negative definition choice shift definitions of the one arm, research tragedy, and they ground a 1AC definition to solve rejectors and prosecute claims about this is my church speech. You should have been vigilant. Cross-apply my arguments about modesty. It's the same argument. We reciprocity negates after rebuttal definitions of one arm can move neg offense. We read 2 in our definitions. What is the first speech reciprocity? The offense reject the linguist evidence. A, it's super vague on what process of change to reject. B, they do not impose a true obligation. The role of the judge is directed by my rule of the ballot. None of these parts tell a coherent story. And insolvency matters. Presumption is no solvency. Good for cross.
Yeah. Okay. Are eugenics bad?
Like, sure, I believe that eugenics are bad.
Alright, some moral things are notable.
Okay, that's not the argument that the skepticism is making. The argument is that it's a question of, it's like a meta-ethical question and a question of normativity. So we're saying that you cannot assert that the 1AC is like a higher moral truth or whatever, and you cannot assert that the 1AC imposes moral obligations, and a lack thereof means that skep is therefore correct, triggers permissibility, negates. It also means that the absence of a moral truth means that you don't meet your resolutional burden, so you auto-negate under truth testing.
Got it. I don't really know what words mean.
How do we know what words mean?
How do you go about definitions?
So I guess that would be that's just like linguistic conventions, because we make that argument on the case page. We have an understanding after thousands of years, I suppose, of like deliberation amongst the Saxons, how English ended up becoming a thing. And we agree that sort of like saying computer means computer. I guess we
what
all
does computer mean?
What does computer mean? Wait, let me look it up.
Thanks.
An electronic device for storing and processing data, typically in binary form, according to instructions given to it in a variable program. And then the example is, quote, my computer is frozen.
Gotcha.
This is from Oxford.
Okay. How do we know that's the right definition of computer?
Well, it's the only definition. Actually, wait. More definitions. Oh, shoot. A person who makes calculations, especially with a calculation machine. Okay, but the difference here is context.
But
so one of the
how do we know context?
Oh, well, it's a question of nouns versus adjectives. If I were to be like, yo, you're such a computer, like that would mean that you're a person who makes calculations, especially with a calculating machine.
What if I thought I was maybe this metal thing in front of me?
You can think what you want, but But like most people,
But like, what if I got confused? What if I didn't know?
well, that would mean you should probably be skeptical of what a computer is.
That was a good point.
That the high key negates, dude.
Boss, I kind of forgot. Why can't I read a roll about in the webinar?
No. That's not fair.
But like, why?
Well, the 2 versus 1 speech cue argument. So I said that like you get to read and extend it, meanwhile I can only answer it. So you essentially get 2 speeches to introduce your arguments. Whereas it would be most reciprocal if you just read it in the 1AC, so we both got 2 chances to sort of engage with each other's framings. Like, yeah, reading it in the 1AC just stalls, and that's why most people do it. I don't really know why you do it.
Alright, that makes sense. Alright, I'm gonna be running fast right now.
was like, why?
Are there new laws?
No, there's no like off case. No new off case version.
Oh, alright, that's good.
No one air like theories start. Case, spec shell. Case, spec shell, truth testing, skep stuff.
Wait, case special, then truth testing is good?
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
I'm glad I read the first week's like. This is gonna be interesting.
Oh shoot, I was supposed to read that to you.
No, it's fine.
Alright, cool.
Wait, okay, sorry. Case, the
Case.
special.
Spec shell, truth testing, skep. Yeah.
Got it.
I just feel like,
And like on skep shell, I'm gonna read a new one air on the ballot.
hey, I said you couldn't do that.
Okay.
Alright, that's chill. Wait, can you put that in the doc of the card, like the roll down text per chance?
Yeah, I mean like it's not hard to do. I mean just like there's no card. I mean just like text it to you. There it says.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Got you. Alright, I'm gonna know when everyone's ready.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Alright. Capitalism condemns disabled people to slow death, push them out of wage relationship with prison, the sounds are homelessness, eugenic, both economic rationality, effort, living wage balance, method, resist, no benefit, one net benefit, voting, affidavit, dissent, voting, neg, entanglement, their model of politics, practice, survival, disability, for ongoing independent care, unilateral reform, seeking actions for capital, gym, Medicare, expansion, go inside of the closing hospital, report, disabled, rejecting, these are the values, we're giving labor, to see with the day, making the worker, resulting for anger, just freely, serving, proper capital, which being a single loss, is the right of care, overseas, no people actually alive, there's a second, it's that exchange, living wages to sharpen the distinction between deserving workers and life, and deserving workers, and invisible, as their model, which will gain the to rationalize every single will, by framing disabilities and digital business itself, reject presumption, reveal to a world, or possibility, no default to a world, structure, eugenics, influence, outcome, dissident, negative, solvency, this is the different solvency, division logic, conclusion that assumes care to one end, which sacrifices people who can't care for them to love that bad, or guys we stay with care, solving projects, survival, the response, and solving this was presumption, but the insolvency, this has to be response to presumption. Reject means just because vague is not a warrant. We say that when you say we need to pass certain policies or do a different disad, instead of prioritizing eugenics, is asking you to rationalize disabled death for able life dispense shell. Defend like the one AR like integration of the 1AC does not mean to spec a roll about. They can read a new roll about in the 1AR if the 1NC read a roll about because reactive. Yes, when you roll about reactive, when you write it, give the cap you roll about or truth testing. I have to create new strategies and moves every mix today. I mean that whenever time of the time we use that the perfect roll about moves all the time. Stuff you know times you 1AR is the hardest usually 2AR can't have new arguments and forcing it best. Do what everyone else does is not a warrant. The roll about serve everything's informative methodology, methodology, techniques, capital abilities, those words, maybe cycles, people without refusing your books and disclosure the most the model purposes and the energy practice theorizing distribution of fear living your model and refusal nothing else about enables framing this fear is burdensome that answers like every single argument about we can't do anything or step or whatever. It's an indict to all of that, even if they're technically ahead. We said it shouldn't be on your flow. Fairness. We're not believing in say fairness doesn't matter. We just said that RF is good. It's a standard for them to demand I accommodate them when they refuse to accommodate me. To its liberties that like fairness, self way to calibrate debates and disavows lines of article debate and students activities only obligating the people in this privilege with an obligation to use it on education and also this and their models. Education for education, sacred reason, maker, still my hobby, my only model, of course, that debates religion, here was embedded necessary, making more taxes, travel, and impact on refill education, leadership, epistemology, project, certainly partial ontological, singles, physical notions, no longer negated by disability, drive, model, 15 universities, biggest single appear for the force of the representation, all but also the way on doing disability of ourselves, driven the was every no subject to disability, the other subject to be disability, which would be knowledge, epistemologists, order in disability, drivers, and certain disability, more epistemologists, and women, artists, about the murder, disability, obviously, disability, and notion of fill knowledge, elements, with the order, given balance, and freedom, and so on, authority, the base, receive, disabled people, truth testing. Okay. Res focuses on order, use obviously, epistemology matters, one is he still legitimacy, foundational, this person, remaining principle, decision, the framework, you should vote ask to res matter, we workshop is the way we interpret the reality, source, subject, subject, version, life, the leaders, for the rest of us, we gain disability, the first thing is based on these consent, can't set our speech act. Interpreting linguistic conventions and answers every single definition thing on skep, truth testing, or 1NC definition choice, or vector, community, center, interpreting the definitions, for us, information, processing, sovereignty, sexual, representing, model, representing, not a bad impact, but there's a chance for a bad impact of eugenics. Not evolutionary, no way doesn't provide evolutionary, morality, practically evolution, 100% cause, morality involves in your survival, follow my first rebel. I probably dropped a bunch of tricks somewhere.
You said analytics.
Yeah, which ones?
All of them.
Gotcha. This is going to be formatted interesting.
It's fine.
One second.
Is it in there?
Is it bad? Maybe I should have put in Dropbox first, and then I would send it. Alright.
Alright, guys. Any independent options? Any reasons to reject the team?
Skep. Hermeneutics set.
What's up?
Skep and hermeneutics set.
Okay, nothing on the shell though.
No.
Alright. Okay. We're just going to be like really quickly on the shell, then skep, truth testing, and permissibility. On the shell, that's where I'm going to deal with like if they get to read the new rule about or not, since it was sort of justified in the counter answer. And then yeah, the rest should be pretty straightforward.
Okay, good.
Alright. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Starting on the shell, starting the counter-interpretation, their counter-interpretation is borderline incoherent and doesn't answer the warrants for why they should not get to read the new rule about. They say that the one error can read a new rule about if the one NC did because it's reactionary. That is literally your fault for not reading in the one AC. The one error does not become reactionary. If you have established what the rule about is in the one AC, then the one NC would become reactionary, which means this is terminally not unique and your fault for not reading in the one AC, which supercharges the reasons why you shouldn't get a new one. Second, conceded 2 verse 1 speech reciprocity, which is an independent reason why they do not get the rule about it. It's uniquely bad for the negative because we only get to answer in the 2 and R, but you get to read it in the 1 error and extend it in the 2 error, which means that it's infinitely bad for the 3 and R to respond. It's just like generic to be conventions. Also, you should be super skeptical of the rule about in the first place because what does it do? They have not explained sort of what on earth it actually means or how it interacts with truth testing or why they have not weighted against truth testing, which means that even if you give them the role of the ballot, they probably aren't winning offense under the skep flow. Then you're super behind on the skep flow. This debate is over the second that they can see the meta ethic of egoism. It takes out the entirety of the 1AC since it is about voluntary care work, but they've conceded that people do not have the motivation nor the sort of ethical reality to do things for other people. They have not wanted imposing moral truth about why people are altruistic in nature. It means that egoism is true. They've conceded. It means that it hijacks the entirety of the 1AC and it proves that you should like presume the 1AC completely false or zero because it's all contingent upon altruistic stuff that doesn't exist. They make a few arguments. I'll go over the top level stuff. They say linguistic skep being true is a first con. Where have I justified linguistic skepticism? That was never justified. At best, that was like a crazy thing happening in cross-sects, but I did not say that linguistic skep was either true or that it negated, which means that I have not performatively contradicted myself. They say drop the argument for accessibility. One, this is not bad for accessibility, both in-round and out-round. Your performance proves that you were able to answer the skep NC and you were able to read arguments for why it was false, which means that it's not bad for engagement. Second, it treats as an index to your 1NC. The skep NC is a wake-up call. It's telling you to justify your ethics better, which allows you to reform things like disability. We're not saying that disability is good, but rather we are saying that you have not proven why disability is like sort of normatively bad, and you have not proven why people have an obligation to prevent disability absent saying the words in a tagline. Like, great job, Liz. The sort of arguments, the arguments that they also, the IBI, they have not won why accessibility issues are drop the debater. Even if they answered fairness, like that's the only justification for drop the debater in the show. They have not won why the IBI is specifically reason to drop the debater, which means that at best, this is just like this is just zero Pascal's wager. I'm glad you made this argument, but unfortunately you conceded that you do not get epistemic modesty when you must have epistemic confidence. Pascal's wager says we might not be skeptical, which is literally the problem conceded at the bottom of the skepticism. It says that like I'll extend why you should only use confidence as key for resolvability. It's incoherent to debate framings under modesty. We shouldn't have to hedge our bets about whether framers are true. We should only be certain. Second, concede that it freezes action because we have to be modest about our modesty. So you have to be modest about if Pascal's wager was even true, which means that you would never actually take action in the first place. Concede that you should also reject new 1 error justifications, which means that you should definitely reject new 2 error justifications, but they aren't winning any risk of modesty. The only other thing that I need to answer, they say that morality evolving doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. High key, the entire rest of the NC does, which they conceded. Skep against the resolution. Concede that we should hold ourselves to a standard for absolute truth as an independent net benefit to truth testing, and the reason why confidence is also true means we can only evaluate things if you are certain that it is true, epistemically speaking, and it means that your jurisdiction as the judge is only to do that when you evaluate arguments. I'm not going for the Darwinian dilemma. It doesn't matter. I'm going for Jensen 16. Each and every argument they concede has an implication on your ballot. First, with Jensen 16, have conceded that ethics are best relative, which means that yes, I can believe that eugenics are bad, and yes, you can believe that eugenics are bad, but they cannot impose. They have not and did not impose a normative claim about why A, you are obligated as the judge to reject eugenics, or B, why rejecting eugenics is true, or why their ethic is true means we should be highly skeptical of what the 1AC is arguing for. Moral regress is a bindingness argument, which later turns to 1AC. It says that we can constantly ask ourselves why be moral, and we just come to no answer, and empirics prove people like Ted Bundy and Hitler are the arguments that we have made that they are super bad people, and people can tout them for being unethical, but at the end of the day, they still did what they did, and there's nothing that stopped them, which means we should be skeptical about morality's bindingness. Moral truth cannot exist is another argument for relativism, which is back entire 81 evidence, which is probably enough to take out the entirety of the 1AC, since they advocate for an entire actor doing something. Ethical, actually, I don't really need the rest of this stuff, I suppose. I guess molecular, well, that's more of a determinism argument. We don't need to get into that whole thing. Truth testing. The role of the model is supposed to compare the best proofs of truth or false to the resolution. They have made answers but have not done the line by line. They have only made two weird answers that are clearly recycled from their prep group because I already answered them yesterday. I'm going for necessity that all statements imply an implicit truth. I was saying that Eyes compliance is the same and saying it is true. They concede the double line that either you rely on the truth of your index to truth testing, which concedes truth testing as a paradigm, or you do not rely on the truth, which means that your index are false and therefore truth testing is true. That's really well laid out. Also conceded textuality, which is that 5 dictionaries defines to affirm as a truth, negate to deny the truth of, which means that, and also that your jurisdiction, the judge, vote on the resolutional text, and so that res focus is arbitrary. One, you would violate this argument too by reading a whole, somewhat whole res affirmative. Epistemology matters. Truth does not take out epistemology. I have read arguments about epistemology in the skep, and see, it doesn't mean that we are disregarding it. We are only taking it from a new angle. They say that refs matter. It frames the way we approach topics and shapes how we interpret them. Doesn't answer why truth testing is bad. Holding the debaters accountable for reps and round can be done through theory or contacting tab or through trigger warnings. It does not mean that I should lose reading truth testing. Permissibility, I'll concede that presumption doesn't matter, but they have not responded to permissibility. Permissibility negates because the semantics bracket has a practical obligation to do something. You vote negative. The extension of the 1EC was so blippy in the 1AR. I didn't understand anything. I know you didn't understand anything either. You shouldn't even be giving them the 30 in this debate. Well, they're going to get 29 anyway, but permissibility negates, skep triggers it if relativism is true. That's like pretty intuitive.
I'm going to take my last name.
Brett.
Orders like case, skep, truth testing.
Okay.
Alright, I'm good.
The eugenics thing was a slow down of disabled which out of society with silence for someone listen to the language about as a foreign livers and to get eugenics required by the world power researching how we doing monetary even to monetary giver taking profitability becomes a passive becomes a future capital requires eugenics to function as a goal conceded that a living wage is deciding who can live and who can die and can to push out the counter profitable disabled label out of the state. Okay. Impact on linguistic, it conventionally conceded that hermeneutic to this and representability from language tables around the social uniform information possibly universal sovereign is a basic projectile model which are accessible readings of the resolution. This is an impact filter. You're going to say the definitions don't matter whether if they're accurate or not. The only tiebreakers whether they justify ableism or not, which supercharges the IVI, which that skep is an independent voter for accessibility, everything being permissible. People judge doing the antagonize disabled with them out of the coach them out of it. I think there's no more for accessibility matters. Yes, it's built into there. It says that judges would say that disabled people can't read their apps anymore to resist eugenics because hey, everything morally permissible eugenics is fine, which means people literally cannot debate on the you answer stuff. No, you're ahead on the skep page. My answers weren't responsive. I've said that if skep is true, which you're clearly winning in the 2 and R, there's no way to justify why eugenic violence matters. Those supercharges this IVI also the skep is telling you to make your ethics better. No, skep told me that moral truths are unknowable due to Darwinian dilemma and all that bullshit you read. That is okay. It's not telling me to make my ethics better. It's told me that my justification for why eugenics matter, which is something I know to myself, is bad because there's no framework that can beat this permissibility assumption. Okay. The IVI justifies school conceded that presumption goes alpha when it disadded the next performance. The disadded that hermeneutics is that don't default to a world structured by eugenics. It means you presume that absent permissibility, which comes at a higher layer, because we've indicted your ability to read arguments that come from definitions of words, and we indicted your ability to say that moral truths aren't possible even if they're ahead on the technical flow. We've said that the flow should matter. Truth testing, untrue testing. Gold conceded truth testing of verbal results in terms of united, joined together politically for common purpose by common feeling, states or particular edition of someone is as someone is at a certain time. What are they otherwise? Workers means care workers really distributes conditions of life. Any wage means bad debt, disability, grounds really means any wage insurance disability must be given an indemnity disability. That means like if United States means it means all people, workers means care work, living wage means that it means that the resolution is true. Yeah, like hermeneutics was fully conceded. Like even if their definitions were dropped, we said that their definitions shouldn't be on the flow because predictability for language is ableist. Use any chance of an IDI or chance of a GAF being good, etc., or true testing affirms or presumption is apt to be the tiebreaker in the round.